iSARMs.com, the #1 place to learn about SARMs online.
Discuss a topic that I get asked this question often, and I want to really explain why I give the answer that I give on this and really break it down for everybody so that they can understand, because this is really important. You know, when we're talking about your health here, you know, ensuring that it stays at the highest level and preventing any added stresses, etc. when you're using steroids, and obviously this is key. So I want to talk to you about mixing alcohol with steroid use. And basically why it's such a bad thing and why you shouldn't do it. You know, one of the hardest things that you're going to come across when you're running a cycle is basically really just the dedication that it takes to complete it without having any problems. A lot of the times what you're going to find is you're going to see yourself in a situation where you really just want to have a couple of drinks. You want to go out with some friends, do whatever. A lot of people out there are big partiers. I don't know, because I quit drinking and everything else, especially once I really got super serious about my health and everything, which was many years ago. You know, it's a phase you go through when you're younger, generally, and a lot of the times it just carries on throughout your life. And you don't think that you should have drinks and, you know, while you're cycling, but then you kind of get in that position where one or two won't hurt. But I'm going to give you a bunch of reasons why you really shouldn't mix the two together. The #1 is going to be the most obvious, and this is especially when we're talking about methylated toxic orals, but this is just with all steroids in general, okay? And we're talking about liver toxicity here. Obviously, and I've said this a million times, that's not the only thing that you need to be worried about with orals, but when we're talking about alcohol and the liver, which obviously don't do well together as it is, and then you're compounding that with an oral steroid that's hammering your liver as well, and then you do the math on that. I mean, I don't really think I need to explain that, because it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that you take two things that are hammering your liver and you do them all at once, it's probably not going to turn out very well. You know, if you're injecting, that's another story. But when you're taking oral steroids, they're almost always hard on your liver. You know, pretty much in general. Proviron being the one that maybe might, you know, not be at all, but all the rest of them are going to pound your liver. Now, since steroids are hepatotoxic, what they're going to do is they're going to make your liver do work, you know, which can be very bad, since, as you already know, alcohol does the same thing, like I said. So there's no actual proof of this, but the general rule of thumb is that they're, you know, a very, very small dosage, such as 20 to 30 milligrams of an oral, which is generally going to be about half a standard dose on most, right? That's going to be equivalent to like 3 or 4 beers per day. Okay, so let's say you drink an average of 2 to 3 beers a day. You know, some people more, some people less, but I'm just talking about an average. And then you run a cycle where you're taking in 50 milligrams a day of, say, Winstrol, because Winstrol is, you know, 50, or say you're taking in 60 milligrams of T-ball. You'd be doing the same damage to your liver of roughly about 10 beers per day. And that's definitely not a scenario that you want to be in. I mean, you think about that, and I think that everybody can do the math on this. That basically what that equates is not good, okay? Not good. It's not anything that you want to do. Very, very harmful. Then we move forward to dehydration. Now, one of the last things that you're going to want to do to yourself during a cycle is get dehydrated, okay? It's one of the last things you're going to want to do, even to just a very small extreme. And what does alcohol do? Well, one of the main things that it does is it depresses you and it dehydrates you, okay? Neither of which that you want to encounter on a steroid cycle, period. #3, which, you know, is obviously a huge here, is your diet. Okay, you're busting ass so hard on your diet. You should be anyway. And alcohol is going to always have a negative effect on your diet, okay? You're talking about empty calories with certain liquors. You're talking about beer that's full of yeast that's going to expand in your stomach and just give you that nasty beer gut. During a cycle, one of the most important things to do is have your diet and training consistent, disciplined, and planned. All right, when you drink alcohol, you can't burn fat, because what you're doing is metabolizing the alcohol. All right, and you're gaining fat because of the extra calories that are in the alcohol. So it's a double whammy in a serious, big-time lose-lose situation. A dedication. Now, it's simply a matter of getting your priorities right here, okay? You're going to go to just the longest extremes and extents to plan your cycle. You know, if you're wise and you're doing it right, you're going to be planning this, you know, a few months ahead of time. And you're going to do all the planning, all the studying. You're going to work out as hard as you can, and you're going to make every effort to eat and to train as perfectly and clean as you can. So why on earth would you want to ruin that with alcohol? Is it really that important to you? I'll be the first one to admit I had so many years of partying and doing this and doing that. And as you get older and as you realize and as you see how detrimental these things are to you, even if it's just a few, I'm not the guy to come out here and start telling you can't do this, you can't do that. But I'm telling you this, if you're serious about your training, okay, if you want to do this in the safest way, if you want to feel good and you want to stay healthy, you don't need that shit. You feel so much better without it and so good. And if you need that high feeling, when you work out and you bust your ass, you're releasing, you know, endorphins and you're feeling so good. So why on earth would you ruin that with a depressive, you know, thing such as alcohol? Something that's going to ruin your diet and something that's not going to allow you to build muscle. Seems a little counterproductive to me. You know, and lastly, allergic reactions are possible. Now, there's been several cases that I've seen where the use of steroids in combination with alcohol has caused some severe allergic reactions. You may not have an allergy, so to speak, but to one or the other, but it's definitely possible to have a severe allergic reaction to them when they're combined. So for the reasons that I just listed, I would definitely not recommend mixing steroids and alcohol whatsoever, and I never have and I'm never gonna. It's a bad choice on so many different fronts and levels, and I've covered them all. You know, if you're gonna do this, do this. If you want to drink, then go drink. You know, don't do them both. It's like, what's the saying? You can't have your cake and eat it too. Well, I mean, whatever, you know, whatever that says, but I'm not saying you can't have one here or there, but I really don't even recommend it. It's not even wise, you know? But it's up to you, ultimately. Like I said, I'm not going to be the guy that tells you can't do this and you can't do that, because then you know what? You're going to go fucking do exactly what someone tells you not to do. But I'm just going to give you the facts and the realities here on what it is. So, Dylan Gemelli, signing off.
iSarms.com, the #1 place to learn.